Good evening. Today is Thursday, January 4th. I'd like to wish everybody a happy new year. Before we get
Yes, Happy
started,
New Year, everyone.
yes, disclaimer, nothing said in this stream should be taken as financial advice. It's for education and entertainment purposes only. Got that out of the way. So, Mr. Dip, how are you? How was your new year?
It was actually quiet. Just chilled and stepped away from the computer for a bit, and yeah, it was nice. Nothing of interest happened, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, actually, today or this year was the first time in many years that I actually did not do a single thing. Hung out with the girlfriend.
No.
We watched a little bit of Harry Potter. She was passed out before 9:30. Rung in the new year pretty much fast asleep. It was different, but I didn't mind it at all.
Yeah, I don't think I stayed up till midnight either.
You know, we're getting old when.
Well, I was on that for a while.
Okay, well,
I'm showing with the gray.
Yeah, well, same here. I actually had to trim. It was looking pretty bad. Started growing the beard a little bit longer. I was going to pull a dip, but decided to keep her trimmed up and maintained. We have a really good show today for you guys. We're going to, in our Smash and Pass, or Pass, I should say, we're going to have IMX. And we're just going to talk about, the year ahead, things to expect, what we're expecting. And, just in the roundtable, we'll have some guests come up and we'll just discuss everything about the crypto space. So we'll jump right into the market watch as we usually do to start it off. Now, I'll mention it later on in the show about yesterday's little bit of a dip. I kind of have a theory on that, but anyway, we'll start off with coin market cap. Here we are. Let's see. I'll go right to the beginning. Oh, I'm on this Lana ecosystem. There we go. Okay. Start off at the top here. We have a market cap of 1.68 trillion. 24-hour volume, 74.2 billion. Bitcoin dominance is at 51.4%, and the Ethereum dominance is at 16.2%. The Ethereum gas transaction will cost you 16 Gwei. Let's see, we got Bitcoin running in right now, 44,244. It had a nice recovery from yesterday's dip. Ethereum in at 2,271. Solana at 105.11 and XRP at 58.82 cents. Moving over to crypto bubbles. This is for the week. Pretty much a sea of red, probably because a lot of tokens haven't recovered from yesterday's dip, but there are a few outliers. We have ICP at 39%, Arbitrum at 35%, SEI, which Crypto Cruiser has actually brought to my attention recently. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. That's up 70%. And we have Beam at 21.3, which is another one that I really like. Let's go over to the Crypto Rainbow. Pretty much the same as last week and the week before. We're still in this accumulation phase currently in the dark green, almost heading into the light green, which according to this silly chart says still cheap. But we're moving in the right direction, which is nice to see. So that's pretty much it for the crypto watch. How's the traditional markets, Mr. Dip?
Traditional markets have been pretty uneventful. There was Fed meeting, and yeah, the Fed seems pretty confident that interest rates are at peak, and that sent S&P to an all-time high just slightly, and it's at a bit of a retrace, testing the previous all-time high as support, but man, nothing of newsworthiness to share from traditional markets that I've heard of anyways.
Okay. Yeah, I guess pretty much status quo. I'm going to send out a link here. Well, I guess we can jump right into the headlines. There's not really much else to talk about in the market watch. I'll just send this off. Yeah, of course, when you need the Wi-Fi to work quickly, it doesn't work. Anyway, so It's not really much going on. I mean, we had the holiday break, the Christmas season, and the New Year, so not a lot of major news. I mean, I guess the biggest news, we're still following the progress of the ETF, and this week, Van Eck, Grayscale, Fidelity, Valkyrie, among others, they filed for their registration of securities with the SEC in regards to the spot Bitcoin ETF applications. An interesting stat that I heard from last year is that crypto related hacks, declined 51% in 2023, which is really good. I remember 3 or 4 months ago, I had mentioned that the crypto hacks were down from 2022 up to that point in 23, which continued for the rest of the year, which is good to see. Now, a little bit of seriousness and joking, I guess you could say. Yesterday, a report came out from who was it? Matrix Ports said that the SEC was ready to decline the ETF applications, which obviously was a FUD post, but that was one of the contributors to yesterday's dip. We have Chart Davidson here today again as well. He'll probably give us a little bit more insight on that. And I have a little bit of a joke here, though, saying that the real reason for the dip, the day before, Jim Cramer said that you can't kill Bitcoin and that it's here to stay. We all know whatever Jim Cramer says, you must do the opposite. It's the best trading strategy you can recommend to anyone. So it's a little bit of an inside joke there on that. Did you have anything to add to the news, Glenn?
I wonder if Jim Cramer actually follows his own investing advice, because it's surprising that he stays employed.
Yeah, he's probably one of those guys. Instead of sell the rumor, buy the news, he's the guy that buys the BS that he's spitting to everybody else.
It's as for news, I don't have anything here on my end. Pretty much same thing, just like everybody else, just sitting and waiting for something to happen, because I believe the deadlines for those ETFs for the first approval is the 9th. So that's only a few days away.
Wednesday, I believe.
That dip did really show how leveraged the market is right now. So just a matter of closing off trades. I don't think it was anybody actually selling Bitcoin. I think it was just derivatives closing off trades and with the news, and then quickly rebounded when it found out that it was FUD. So
I'm not sure what the final number was, but one of the reports I read was that it was close to $700 million in liquidations within a couple of hours yesterday morning. Ouch. Which is insane.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so how about we move on to this week's Smash or Pass? This week's token we have is IMX.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Smash or Pass featuring Immutable. What is Immutable? We're about to find out. Immutable positions itself as the first layer 2 scaling solution for NFTs on Ethereum. According to Immutable, its blockchain does away with Ethereum's limitations like low scalability, poor user experience, illiquidity, and a slow developer experience. Instead, users benefit from instant trading, massive scalability, zero gas fees for minting and trading NFTs without compromising user or asset security. To achieve this, Immutable is built with Stark ZK rollups, a technology that Vitalik Buterin considers Ethereum. Thanks to this technology, users will be able to create and distribute assets like ERC20 and ERC721 tokens on a massive scale. Director of Gods Unchained, Chris Clay, which a project is already on Immutable, stated obviously impossible. In this fashion, Immutable aims to create a world-class experience for users and developers alike. Immutable really is the complete package, with its player and developer experiences, revenue engine, and the foundations which it's all built upon. Players get an enhanced experience with easy and seamless transactions through the passport and checkout features. Developers utilize all the tools required through gaming software development kits, blockchain data APIs, and developer hubs. Revenue engine enables NFT minting and trading, and an order book to execute transactions at lightning speed. This is all possible by the strong foundations
Yeah, I think we had some technical difficulties there. We lost Crypto Cruiser right in the middle of his presentation. So we'll have to wait for him to come back up. Oh. Well, looks like I'm going solo. I'm not sure what happened. I think the Matrix got us. That's what I'm going to go with. Anyway, well, okay. So the Smasher Pass was IMX. We'll get more information on that later. I'm not sure really what happened. We lost Dip and we lost Crypto Cruiser, which is really weird. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to skip ahead to the roundtable. I will bring up Juan and Chart so that I'm not here dying on my own up here on stage. Welcome, gentlemen.
How's it going? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you guys as well. Thanks for hopping up. I'm not sure what happened. The Matrix got us because we just lost Dip and we lost Crypto Cruiser at the same time, right in the middle of the presentation there. So skipping ahead to the roundtable, we're not going to let them get to us because I have two of the better gentlemen in the space that I know. So how are you guys? How was your New Year?
It was good. Go ahead, Juan.
No, just saying, so far so good. Can't complain. The markets are moving in directions that are a little bit more predictable. So definitely capitalize with some trades. And family is great. Thank you for asking. Chart, how was yours?
It was good. It always feels so short because you're always busy planning and hosting and whatever. At least this year for me, we were hosting so much that it went by so quickly because you spend pretty much like 2-3 days just get everything wrapped up and cleaned up and organized. By the time everybody comes in and drinks your drinks and eats your food, it's already January 4th. So we're kind of like slowly getting away from all the festivities now, and now it's getting back to routine. So it's kind of good.
Good. Glad to hear it, guys. As for myself, it was pretty quiet holidays. I did have the week off work. I spent a lot of it with my son and my better half. We did some family visiting, turkey dinner at her mom's place, all the usual things over the holidays. And then New Year's, I actually didn't do anything. First year in a long, long time. As I mentioned earlier, I just kind of stayed in. We watched a little bit of TV and chilled. Wasn't really in the mood to get out there. The weather was kind of bad in this area anyway. So it was a good night in. I can't complain. So the markets. Chart, I wanted to ask you, there's a lot of speculation and rumors as to exactly what happened yesterday. What's your take? What do you think was actually what was going on?
It's a typical FUD in the markets, right? Like, how do you get Bitcoin lower? By presenting everybody with the article like they presented, especially now that everybody's waiting for some kind of resolution on these ETFs. And so all it takes is one article that just says, yeah, it's not going to get approved to crash the markets. But the thing is, people understand where we are in the current bull run structure. So any of these little dips are opportunities for people to buy lower. And so I think that's what's happening right now. The markets are recovering as a result of that. They understand that whether there is a postponement of the ETF or whether there's an acceptance of the ETF, it doesn't really matter at this point. We're trying to price in all of that momentum. And like I said in the space today, I think if it gets rejected and gets delayed even further, that's even more catalyst for us to down the road, right? So it doesn't matter whether it gets approved now in the next, 5 to 6 days, or gets rejected and gets approved in March. To us, we know we're now in a bullish momentum. We have so many catalysts to begin with. We have even the ETF for Ethereum to worry about. So yeah, it means really nothing. It's a nothing burger to me. I just buy the dip and just keep going.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were, judging by the fear and greed index, which dipped down right around 60 there. A lot of people were fear, but not me. When I saw that happen yesterday morning, it was around 10 after 7. I saw the charts, got the notification, and my eyes lit up because for me, we don't have very many buying opportunities left at these prices. And anytime you get a dip like that, you got to take advantage of it. Anybody who's been in the space long enough, they know that on red days like that, it's a good day. You take out the pocketbook and you buy some more crypto. Juan, what was your take on yesterday's dip?
Just kind of like what Chuck was saying. Definitely the ETF lies they want to spread to try to control the market price, so others can get in on a better price. Definitely plays a role. And also when you see highs like this and people are just waiting to hit that 49, 50K level, right? Liquidity run also plays a role, right? Grab some liquidity real quick, and then kind of use that same money to buy it back up. So I think it's a combination of the two in my eyes. But the ETF is going to be the story for the next couple of months. When it's released, how it's released, and then of course the backdrop is crypto a security or not? I think that's going to be the topic for 2024.
Yeah, it's going to be an ongoing conversation, I think. Another thing that kind of struck me about yesterday's dip, you can tell that we're clearly in the early stages of a bull market, because if that had happened during a bear market, that kind of dip, we wouldn't have recovered the way we did. We're 24 hours, a little over 24 hours later, and we're pretty much back at the same price level as we were before the dip started. And the other thing you can say too is I mentioned in the headlines, Jim Cramer had said finally that Bitcoin is something and that it's not going anywhere. And anybody who follows that guy should have put a short position in right away. Now going forward as well into 2024, besides the the regulation and the ETF, one of the other things I noticed too is a quick little story that went viral about the ETFs being denied. And you get a $5,000 dip in the price. Now, can you imagine when the announcement comes out that the ETFs are approved? And there's rumors that they will be approved early next week, and that they will go live as early as late next week. So, could you imagine the volatility that's going to occur when that happens? If we see a quick dip on a rumor, could you imagine what it's going to be like when we actually get the announcement that they're approved?
Yeah, I think everybody's really waiting on the news. And I don't know if those people who are waiting are those who are like eager to jump in. I think it just sets the stage for the next part of the Bitcoin ecosystem, right? Like, what can we do with it? And now it's going to kind of answer those questions for a lot of those people who are on the fence. I just can't wait for it to just kind of start setting that trend and that, well, like I said, water cooler talk, because that's what's going to really spur just all the other coins to kind of follow Bitcoin to the top.
I'll be honest with you. As a purist of crypto, I hate the fact that we're going to do this ETF thing. Because like I said earlier today, I said, we're going to eventually centralize all the holdings of Bitcoin by providing people another option, right? So if you're going to get an influx of liquidity, right, these fund managers, these companies are forced to actually have physical Bitcoin with them in accordance to, I guess, the ETF that they file. But that's only going to push more for these companies to hold more Bitcoin in the reserves and centralize their holdings. How do we get away from that, right? I don't know. I hope there's mechanisms out there that disallow people or companies to hold a certain percentage of the total supply to kind of like help with that. But it is good to have this liquidity surge now into the market. It's going to be nice that everyday people are going to be able to buy crypto safely and with confidence. But I really don't like the fact that we're going to centralize a lot of stuff, including Ethereum too, right? When it's trying to completely decentralize itself through all these new protocols that are coming up.
I think everybody's just trying to get into the banks, though, and be legitimate. I think that's why these things are taking place. Like I said, I know Solana was in talks or is in talks with banking institutions. And again, the lack of direction from the top is causing all these issues. So we're stuck here trying to figure out, are we going to move forward with ETFs in a way that makes it safe for everybody, and of course regulated to a point where it's like you said, maybe control the total supply, maybe limit on how much a single entity can hold, or there's a combination of things that can be done. But again, what are we going to do? But without clear direction from the SEC, man, we're gonna continue to just look for ways to shoot ourselves in the foot.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, welcome back.
You're never
just gonna say welcome back.
I actually saw the
sorry,
shadow
guys.
from the Matrix grab you out. Saw that.
Well, actually, what happened, I think, is our internet went down in this area. So I'm just using my phone, as you can tell by the camera, using my data, but our Wi-Fi went down. Anyway, so what did I miss? What were you guys discussing?
The ETFs, the implications of what kind of regulations can help not just support the market, but still keep it decentralized, and at the same time make it easier for consumers to kind of get into it safely.
Gotcha. Okay. I caught the tail end of Chart. You saying something about you're not a fan of the ETFs. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, as a purist, I don't like the fact that the ETFs will only centralize the holdings of Bitcoin and Ethereum as a whole, right? Because it will provide these entities a way to kind of like control the market by holding more Bitcoin, right? By holding more Ethereum. So as we're trying to get more decentralized, we're actually providing more centralized behavior to these entities, and I don't like it. I do like the fact that we're going to be infusing the market with a massive amount of liquidity, which will eventually flow back into different types of alts and majors, mid-majors, and so on and so forth. But as a purist, as a guy who's been mining Bitcoin back in 2013, to this day, whatever, I do not like that at all. And I hope we find a way to kind of like decentralize by having limiting factors within these companies that will disallow them from holding too much Bitcoin or Ethereum.
Right. My argument is that you kind of need this level of centralization to make it accessible for everyone else, right? But to Chart's point, right, the whole point of crypto is to be kind of decentralized, right? To have the freedom to purchase and use and utilize without any interference of outside forces. And I think there's a balancing act, and that the lack of SEC direction or government direction on what crypto is what's really kind of killing the ability for us to maintain this decentralization, but still have access to it for everybody else easily. Hope that makes sense a little bit. Yeah,
absolutely. We may have dipped back. I wanted to bring. I was going to share the screen, but I can no longer do that since I'm on my phone. I've been following the Bitcoin halving countdown clock, and currently, well, I did have internet just a second ago, but anyway, it was 90 days and some on change. So yeah, each week I'm going to show the countdown for the Bitcoin halving, which will be coming up. This is crazy. I'm not even sure how the dip that got booted off when he's not even in my area. Can you hear us? Dip? No, still circling.
I think it might be a widespread Rogers.
Okay, so anyway, there you are. Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's looking like it because we got nothing here and I'm nowhere near you.
No, you're like 2 hours away from me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Internet, guys.
Chart, thanks for holding down the fort over time. Anyway, so we have about 90 days remaining before the halving. So I believe it's April or March. So now, Chart, you can take on the Bitcoin price and price action for this year. And you were saying that we might top out somewhere near fall. Is that what you were saying? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm thinking about somewhere around September, October, November. That's probably going to be our last 3 months of bullish activity before we finally dip. So if you want to chart anything, you'll be like figuring out you got to sell most of your assets by November, end of November, because I think that will be our retail FOMO area. And then from that point on, it's like everything's gravy. So just sell and forget. You have to worry about December if there's any other price action moving up again. But I think if you're holding on past December, you're in some troubling territory. I really think you need to reconsider your position if you're holding past January.
Well, yeah, by that point, according to what you feel is going to happen, euphoria would have already come and gone, and we'd be on the downward turn after the peak. So, yeah, if you wait that long, well, shame on you, because you've been warned many, many times.
Well, you have a full year to think about it, right? Like, you have the entirety of the 2024 year to plan your attack against the market, right? Like, we've been preaching, dollar cost averaging all 2023, finding your basket of goods, whatever that is, whether it's in the AI sector or RWA sector or whatever it is. But once we get out of this rut right now that we're in, when we start to ascend into like the bull market, those dips will be so few in between, right? There's going to be so little for you to take advantage of, because every little dip is going to be met with a whole bunch of liquidity. So it's going to be very difficult to kind of time the market when you're trying to buy within the bull run. So it's always good to have something ready to go than something down the road.
No, well, I'll have you back. We don't lose connection again. We're both in the same boat. Roger's been really unreliable lately as this provider. Now, obviously, you have a little bit of an take to how you think the bull market is going to go. Do you have a version now that you care to share?
Are you talking to me? I'm not making out what you're saying. You're kind of muffled.
Oh, am I muffled? Sorry. Yeah, I was just saying that your previous predictions on the Bitcoin price didn't come to fruition. Did you have an alternate, kind of plan or idea of how the market's going to go?
No, I just thought by this point, instead of being at an interest rate pause, that we'd be seeing a bit of a reduction by now. So I think everything's just delayed a little bit, and I still expect the same. I see this year being a fantastic year for investing, because we will get into an easing phase eventually, and probably one of the worst years ever for people that aren't in the investing space and are grinding for their dollars and don't have that extra source of income. So, but as for Bitcoin, yeah, I think everything's still going the way I expected. It's just taking a little longer.
Can I add something to that? It's very interesting to me that how the market's actually shaped up, the traditional markets, where when the government or the Fed or the Bank of Canada, whoever the centralized bank is, when they're lowering the rates, it's usually because we're in a recession, or we're in a trajectory down into the recession. So they're trying to stimulate the market by doing that. We're actually doing the opposite. They're going to lower rates as we're getting out of the recession and moving up. So it's kind of interesting to see we're doing the complete opposite of what's normal, right? Where as we're trending upwards, we should be raising rates, not lowering them, right? Versus what we're doing now.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with the national debt to GDP ratio. It's pretty much getting to the point where tax money isn't going to be enough to cover debts, and then it'll cause insolvency and even greater hyperinflation if they keep going the way they're going. So I think the easing's necessary, but it's like a two-sided knife, right? It's gonna hurt us more in the long run, but it's a necessary evil in the short term.
Just want to apologize again to all the listeners and anyone watching this video. We kind of lost our provider service down here, so both Dip and I had to resort to our phones. So we apologize for the poor quality of audio and video. Okay, so normal catalysts aside, we know that the Bitcoin halving is going to induce a lot of volatility and price rise with Bitcoin, obviously, especially over time. And then we have the Bitcoin halving in 90 days change coming in March or April. I believe it's April, week of April, I think it is. So other than that, guys, I'll pose the question to all three of you. I'll start off with Juan. Other than those two major catalysts, do you think there's going to be anything else in 2024 that could affect the crypto market negatively or positively?
No, I think we're looking at world conflict potentially affecting the markets, and I do believe it'll drive up energy costs and be a positive for investors, but detrimental to the general public.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Dip on it. Yeah, I was going to say I agree with Dip in that the only thing that's going to derail 2024's bull run is something like that, where there's a world conflict and energy prices skyrocket again, or inflation's going crazy again, because most of the negative things we had looming over our heads are kind of out of the way, right? The FTX thing is pretty much withered down to nothing. We have still the Mt. Gox thing that's kind of like looming, but not really anymore. They're starting to give back the Bitcoin that were held for all these years, right? And then you have the other one, which was the Binance thing, right? Where CZ was going to possibly face some detainment, right? Binance wasn't going to be able to function as an entity. So that's kind of out of the way as well now, right? Imagine having that during the bull run. It would immediately tank the markets, right? Because people are going to be all of a sudden afraid for their funds and what's going to happen. So this is almost like the blessing was we ended up doing this last year in 2023, right? Yeah. And so now we're at a point where there's actually nothing in our way. We have all this positivity lined up as we go along. So yeah, for sure, there could be something like a DeFi liquidity scam that takes out maybe Curve or whatever, one of the big projects. That could happen. That could cause a small dip, right? Can we have a Luna effect? Yeah, we can possibly have another Luna in front of us. But these are the kinds of things we can determine, right? They're not looming over our heads. And so, yeah, there's really nothing unless we're looking at a world war or whatever.
Agreed. For me, I think looking into, are people still looking for a store of value? So if so, I would still look into gold. And if gold is still in that 221, 2200 range, I think that's going to play a good role for crypto. That means people are looking for that value. I also think that, if we continue to find the FTXs of the world, another one shows up, I think that's going to be a perfect excuse for a dip, right? And of course, what the government plans to do. I think they went after Coinbase, right? For being a security. I mean, I don't know how still. I think they also did that to Kraken. So what's going on? What's the decision? Why? What was the criteria, more importantly, right? How did they come to this decision? So those things have to be kind of fixed, or we're going to continue to find these excuses for peaks and valleys instead of just the globalization of crypto itself, and letting the market kind of operate on its own. Because right now, all we're having is people interfering. And the last thing I think, will Doge and coins like that, what's this other one? Shiba continue to underperform, right? Is that going to be the thing? Because, are they too big? And, if they get, if the value goes too up, is it going to, really affect the market positively, negatively? I think those things are huge for 2024, answering those questions.
market cap sitting there that with really unsure, right?
Yeah. I think that going into 2024, we got to go in.
Do you guys think that?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Did I?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, like I cut you off. I was going to ask a different question. What were you saying?
No. Go ahead. I'm done.
Okay, I was going to say, do you think this rise of the BRICS currency will have any effect on markets?
It's funny because I thought we would have started seeing the effects of that last year, and especially at the end of this of 2023, and nothing really come of it. I think as people try to vie, or the countries are trying to vie for control of how to kind of deliver BRICS, right, and making sure that the market is I guess equitable for all the countries involved. Until that happens, and the people actually are willing to compromise and come to an agreement, and I don't see China doing that right now, considering the hole they're in. I think that I don't foresee it playing a huge role yet, at least not in 2024. Do you think the altcoins are gonna actually make a comeback, or are just specific ones are just in prime position to pounce for 2024?
I think they're all going to take turns, right? Because as the market cap of crypto swells, right? What do we say? Like it's right now 1.5 trillion full market cap. As it keeps swelling towards like 5, even up to 10 trillion, I think each of them will have a turn, right? So you'll have a monster run from one, say mid-major to major, right? And get up to like 10 billion, maybe 20 billion market cap. And then there's a gradual decline from that, right? So as we have everything swell up, there's going to be these peaks and valleys with these projects. If you can catch multiple of them, you can actually add to your exponential growth during 2024. So the key is knowing which ones to get into at what time, right? The other key is knowing what is going to be current, right? So like, for example, I don't know where, say, for example, Twitter announces that it's going to make their AI assistant free for everyone. And then all of a sudden that gives a catalyst to all the AI plays in crypto. And then they're all exploding, right? And then we wait for another news article about, I don't know, real world assets, how they're going to be all tokenizing a whole bunch of little things, maybe real estate get into that. And then all of a sudden the basket of those projects is going crazy, right? They're going up 10x or 20x or whatever. That's really important, knowing which ones to get in at what time, and to know the trends, to know which are the themes of the year. So yeah, I absolutely think they're all going to have a major comeback. But yeah, it has to be in sections, in different parts of the year.
So what do you think is going to be the major altcoin theme for 2024? Like, we had the 1%, right? Earn 1%. We had these things, these tokens generating. Then we went to nodes, right? Then we went to tokens that generate yield based on trading. So what do you think is going to be the new thing for 2024?
I honestly think, on that line, right? So what is going to be making you money, right? Not just the rise in the asset class market cap, but actually what is going to give you money back, right? And I think tokenization of assets is so damn good, right? Because it's real world assets. They're tangible assets that all of a sudden you're going to get more money down there. Like, for example, I know I talked about Oculus in a couple of spaces of mine, but I really believe in that format. I believe in taking the tools that we have, NFTs, and using them in a way that they haven't been used before. Like, for example, in their platform, what they do is they go to our artist, they select, they go, all right, would you be able to offer up your music for as an NFT? In return, you get seed money from sales of that NFT. And the people that buy the NFT are going to actually own the rights to that song forever and ever. So any licensing deals, any royalties are coming through, they go straight back to the holders of themselves of the NFT. Isn't that crazy? So like, imagine if you're looking to be an investor in this and you're trying to find like the next big artist. You can do that yourself, right? You're just going to find that right artist. You're going to sell that NFT. Then you're going to own the rights to that song, right? And it's mind blowing, the possibilities of what you can do in that sector. And that's just the music sector. Imagine taking that approach to like other areas, like real estate, for example. This one of the biggest ones I can think of, because it's like getting a lot harder for everyday people to invest into real estate, right? So how do you allow them to have a smaller barrier of entry into real estate? By tokenizing real estate, right? Proportionalize it in smaller pieces.
Yeah,
and then allow everybody. Exactly. And so now all of a sudden you can afford to buy into real estate and have it appreciate, And you can have multiple properties like that by owning parts of a real estate property than the full property itself. So yeah, I think that's going to be so tangible moving forward. I think that's going to be big.
I agree. I think that's what the next big thing for 2024 is a level of tokenization for real world assets and tying it into real world value, so people can feel that, hey, something's tangible instead of these intangible thoughts that exist in the world now. Like, you earn 1%, but 1% of what? And 1% of nothing is still nothing, because it doesn't really exist in the real world. So I get what you're saying. That's an awesome thing for 2024.
Yeah, and it's not even speculative, right? It's not even speculative, because most of the crypto that we have now, it's all speculative, right? If it's going to work, when it's going to work, eventually it's going to work, right? Here, we actually have assets. We have businesses that are using the tools that we've created, like the NFT tools and things that they can use now to create new vehicles of investment that can actually make you money, right? Like real money that you can claim on your taxes. So yeah, I think that's really, really essential.
No, totally agree. I just can't wait to see the creative juices come from these new devs in the space. 2024, you're going to have some good ones. You're definitely going to have your bad ones. We just have to be vigilant, and hopefully shows like ours will continue to be able to deliver and show people a way to kind of make the right choices. Obviously, not make any recommendations, but more really focus on how to make the right choices, how to look these things up, and how to maybe even read a white paper, right? And get the best out of your investment. So, Dip, you back?
I think so.
It looks like your internet is on. Yeah.
What's that?
So look, your internet is back.
No, I'm still on mobile here. So.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So
you sound clear. You sound crystal clear. Awesome.
Yeah, I think Crazy's got the same issue going on there. But yeah, I'm even having problems with mobile. I don't know if it's just Ontario and Canada here or Canada wide, but it's strange that two of the major internet providers are both having issues at the same time.
I do hear that when aliens visit, they cause this level of interference. You might want to look outside your window.
So annoying, let me tell you.
I'm all right with that.
I mean, that can happen in 2024. I think that'll shake the crypto markets, right?
You got your, we just got to start tokenizing internet data, storing it for times like this.
I think they already fractionalized it the way. No, I don't want to go back to the dark ages. No. Nights and weekends. No. I don't want a nights and weekends token. No.
Nights and weekends. No, there's actually a company right now. It's called Holochain, and they're trying to do decentralized internet. I don't know whether or not they've been successful at it, because you have to purchase their hubs, right? I think it was expensive. I think it was like between $500 and $1,000 for a single hub. And then you can provide internet service, but you still have to have internet service. So I don't know how that works anymore, because I've stopped paying attention. But yeah, Holochain used to be like that.
Oh, that sounds.
And don't forget Helium and mobile.
What was that? Yeah.
What was that
What's that?
other one that you did the mining and you had
Yeah, that was helium.
the little unit that you stuck in, antenna unit that you stuck in the window. Crypto that
Yeah, wasn't that
had the
helium?
little miners with the antennas that went in the window. Helium, yeah. Weren't they pushing for decentralized internet as well?
Yeah, mainly mobile service, but
Excuse
yeah.
me again.
Yeah, it was mostly the
Brutal.
mobile service side of Helium that kind of wanted to deliver like that decentralized mobile experience. As think about how much access we have to our phones and we carry it everywhere we go. Do we really need to have the ability to track through the internet and what we use and what we're consuming? So this is a great way to kind of control some of that, right? A little decentralization doesn't hurt nobody.
And then there's the other
That's
one
true.
as well.
And
Like
my brother.
I was gonna just say, there's another project that I remember I talked about during the space today. I said there's this new thing called DPIN, which is a decentralized physical infrastructure network, and that is kind of a nice way of saying you provide the infrastructure to this decentralized network, and in return you obtain tokens or coins or whatever. And so there's this project that I kind of caught my eye a while ago. I kind of missed the bottom one, but the token name is Wi-Fi, right? And so what you're supposed to be doing, you're supposed to be providing your Wi-Fi to others in return for some tokens, and you're supposed to, allow, like, you're basically a node on the network, right? As you're walking around, right? And so anybody can go into the node or go into the network and obtain Wi-Fi whenever needed. So it's kind of interesting how this is a really cool way to decentralize things, including Wi-Fi signals.
I think for
Possibilities
2024.
are endless.
Looking into ways to decentralize things will go a long way into providing like the common person the ability to understand what decentralization actually means for their personal lives. And I think the more they kind of understand it, the more the benefit will go towards crypto. So it's a again, it takes the right dev, right, the right imagination and the right application. Just look at our phones, right? We just had regular, flip phones back in the day. It took the right company to kind of have a different vision of what the phone can be and should look like. And now we have this ubiquitous technology that, we can't live without. And I think that's what we need to kind of deliver crypto, the space into, right? Something that people can say, wow, I'm glad I have this decentralized, whether it's electricity or gas or something where they can see a tangible benefit to their lives.
Yeah.
It looks like we lost people.
You lost who?
I think if you guys go without the video, I think it might help you guys with the stream, because I think it's using a lot of your bandwidth. Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. I'll see what I can do here.
Yeah, maybe go on mic mode, or maybe get some of that decentralized internet.
Well played, Juan. Well played.
There we go. How's that?
Yeah, crystal.
Got to get some of that American internet.
Toss your lifeline, bro. Across the border.
Yeah. I'll meet you at the Detroit River. We'll just run an Ethernet cable across.
Yeah, like Cat 11 or something. Jesus, like triple shielded.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Dip, any thoughts?
Any thoughts? I had a question for you guys in regards to 2024 and with the AI, and you're seeing a lot of deep fakes and
everything else, to the point where, and even like Instagram accounts where it's not even a real person in them making money. Do you see that as the next way to FUD the market?
Easily, like super easily, right? So here's like what I think about this kind of stuff. So yeah, so we end up getting like an overhaul of what we expect is real, right? Because AI is now creating this new entity, right? It could be anything and everything you want it to be. So we need to kind of like authenticate all the stuff that we see now, right? So we will have to have tools that authenticate all of these things for us. Like there has to be a symbol that will say, yeah, this is a deep fake, or this is a real person, or this is an AI person, right? There has to be something like that. And I think using the blockchain is one way to do it, right?
Yeah.
If something can be verified to be real, right? Then we go, all right, whatever we are seeing right now is a real thing because it's uploaded by a real person, right? And we know where that account is located, which is on a specific blockchain or a layer 2 or whatever. So yeah, as new things come along, there will be more tools for us to build, right? To kind of help us with our lives. And I think, it poses a problem for right now, but I think we eventually will have tools for it.
Yeah. And
I think we just
the use of a blockchain to cover authentication and verification of things in all aspects. The possibilities are endless, and it's something that will be exciting for the space.
Well, that's why I was so pushing for using the blockchain for voting, right? The ability to authenticate who you are, the ability to place your vote on the blockchain. It's immutable, no hanging chads, none of this nonsense, dead people voting, right? So a lot of these things are could help just show what the space can really do when done right.
Yeah. Trying to think what else, what other threats do you think there are for the markets, traditional or crypto in the future?
I'll be honest with you. I'm more interested in seeing how our economy is going to fare with cuts, right? Because I don't know if we have, right? It all depends on oil. Everything in the world is driven by oil prices. We have to have oil in different forms, right? For transportation, for products, for everything. And so how do we deal with oil prices, right? If oil prices do end up going down, it'll kind of stabilize everything. Our economies will be better. They can kind of cut rates at that point, right? We can pretend that the last few years was just an aberration, right? Just like 2020 was. Like 2020 was actually the real recession and was propped up by printing money, right? And so we shouldn't have been booming. We should have been actually in a deep, deep recession, and we weren't. So everything kind of flipped over, where like now we should be going up and we should be actually getting rate increases, but instead we're doing the opposite. We're actually doing the complete opposite of what's expected. So I want to see how this market actually performs. 2024 is going to be good because there's a lagging effect to all of this, right? Cuts are going to be only seen how they transpire in 2025. So hopefully we don't have anything major that happens between now and then. Hopefully the oil prices do stay low, like around $60 per barrel or lower. But if we don't, we're going to have to get into the position where we might actually have to raise rates again. So yeah,
well,
looking forward to seeing that.
My concern is coming in like 2025, because like I don't know if I got cut off or not talking before, where I was saying that the situation right now is a big time a debt to GDP issue in all countries, with the money printing and then having the available tax money to actually be able to pay the debt without causing the hyperinflation. Because the second countries start printing money to pay debt, that's when you go into that hyperinflation spiral. But I do think that we're we're going to see a lagging effect to this in like 2025, and then the pain that you've seen with 7% interest rate hike, and then they'll have no choice but to do like the Paul Volcker 15-20%, what you've seen in the 80s. So that's scary long term, but short term bullish for investors.
I think the like with anything, it's just how creative we become in utilizing, whether it's technologies, whether it's solutions. We want to keep oil prices low, then we have to have something competitive to oil. And at one point, oil prices, this is not the first time. And one of the things that we pushed forward was, hey, you know what, we'll just build electric cars. And all of a sudden, oil prices kind of fixed themselves when that threat was made. And that was like, I think in the 90s, like late 80s. We don't have that same level of cachet. And so how we want to solve problems, I think, and what tools we use to solve problems is what's going to kind of either spur the economy in the right direction, or we're going to continue just to print money to fit, because we just can't continue the same path. You just can't use the excuse of printing money to fix everything, because it's just not going to work.
Well, there always is the possibility that you'll get the right people in the financial positions of countries around the world. I can't just specify one because I think all of them are in about the same boat, but it is a good argument for Bitcoin adoption, because pretty much all you're doing is burning your cash reserves when you invest in Bitcoin, right? It's taking it out of circulation, putting it into an asset, and it might be a real solution down the road.
Imagine governments offer bonds via Bitcoin. That would be something else, right? That would be one vehicle to remove cash out of the circulation, right? To have these like long bonds in Bitcoin, right? Like instead of USD, you can have it in Bitcoin.
Well, when you sit and think about solutions, and all the traditional ones are gone, right? Like people don't really want to invest in government debt anymore. Like the bond market isn't what it used to be. So yeah, you think it's something like exactly that, like long-term Bitcoin bonds in something that's decentralized and can't be messed with might be a good idea. And it might be the way out of the financial problems of a lot of countries.
Yeah, and the striking thing for me is like this debt ceiling that keeps going up in the U.S. Like at some point, they got to fix this. You can't just keep printing money, right? So I don't know how they're going to do that. I really don't know how they're going to fix that. Either they reset everything and start from zero. So you know what? We don't have any debt, guys. There's no debt anymore. Or they have to find a vehicle to repay that debt. So I don't know how they're going to do that.
I mean, accountability goes a long way, man.
Yeah, that's the big question. It's just what options are left, because there is that great reset, new currency, just start over like currencies have done throughout time, or actually fix what we have now that you know where it's broken, right? You might like something like Bitcoin.
I hope that's not the path. I don't think we need a currency reset. I just think that we just need a different mindset. We act like the country doesn't make money. It's just, I think it just misappropriates and misguide and uses the money that they do generate misguidedly. How we tax people misguidedly. I think there's a huge opportunity to kind of rectify and reflect what kind of nation we want to be going forward, and what kind of legacy we want to leave behind. When you got, well, at least when I went to school in America, you know, I looked up to the greats of George Washington and Lincoln and the things they've done and accomplished, and Theodore Roosevelt and some of the challenges they kind of went through. But what would my daughter look into? You know, like who are they going to look up to?
Yeah, and that's where things get really terrifying too. Like, you look at the pressures that we see now worldwide, and you know that all this debt is just going to be exacerbated over time. And for our kids and their kids, what chance do they have? It's a scary thing to think about.
On that sour note, any parting words? I know it's 8 o'clock.
Hello, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock. I want to...
Right on schedule.
Yeah, Crazy's back, right on schedule. Time to leave. So...
Again, I apologize, gentlemen. Thanks for holding down the fort. Yeah, it is 8 o'clock. This was kind of a Matrix rug at its finest. But as always, thanks for joining us, Juan. Thanks again, Chart, for coming on and holding down the fort. Really, really appreciate it.
Not a problem, CC. Just pay me in the XRP. I'll be good.
I never. I think I'd part with my soul over my XRP.
Well, since you're partnering with Soul, I'll take those. I take those.
Okay, thanks, gentlemen. We'll do this again next week, same time. Hopefully next week the stream is a little bit more stable.
Sounds good, guys. Take it easy, everyone.
All right, thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone, for putting up with this. See you next week.
Take care.
All right, guys.